Good afternoon, everybody. I've come on to do a few little tags using something that I've been calling ransom note letters. It's just cutting up letters out of magazines and mix and matching the typefaces, the colors, things like that to create words. I've started a little book or a notebook where I keep all the letters together in one place. It just makes it easier to find the letters that you want to create a word. And this is one of the things we did in week 14 in my Totally Junk Journal series. We do that in a live stream, and I just wanted to come on and show you what we had done in a shorter process video. So what I usually do for tags is I love these tea box lids. They make real good sized tags. And all I did was take some different papers. These are security envelopes, so they're junk mail basically. So I'm using cardboard from packaging, and I'm using junk mail, and I'm just going to go on here and stick down some of this security envelope paper. Now I am just using a glue stick. I will use a little card to squish these down. And I'm not really planning it or worrying about different letters. I'm just using different papers so that I get sort of a patchwork kind of look. And I just do the whole card. I will cut my corners off later when I have, I think we'll use this one. When this dries is when I'll cut the corners off. To create the tag shape. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put this glue stick away. I'm going to make sure all of the papers are down good. And then basically I peel it off my craft mat and I set it aside. And the reason I do that is I prefer to work on them after they're dry. So I have already gotten a couple that are dry. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim the excess off. And I do trim it off square to start. Now then, what I like to do is to decide which way's up, which way's down, doesn't really matter. And then, let me get this out of the way. I take hold of this and I just trim off a corner at an angle. Then I take this piece and I set it over here and I cut along it, and that will give me the same angle. And the angle is not near as important as having it be the same angle on both sides of the tag. Even the store-bought tags that you get, they do come different sizes, and they come with a different, they're not always the same. So I just make sure that my angles are both the same on one tag. Okay, now we're going to want to take our hole punch. Of course, they have all the tools came out. And punch a hole. And if being real centered matters, you might want to measure it. I don't. I just punch. And it just so happened that I liked the corners rounded on these, so I'm going to use my corner rounder. If you don't have a corner rounder, take something round, draw around it, and trim. Okay. Now we want some little images, and we want some words. And I've already picked some. And I'm going to just sort of audition the images with the words to make sure that they fit. Because I may have gotten letters that are a little too big for this. And I don't trim my letters up real tiny until I get ready to use them. Partially because if you do, they're harder to hold. So I'll trim them up now. And I really like letters that are different colored backgrounds, different fonts. And I like to tip them different directions. So I'll be putting this one down like that. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to try to keep the little pieces out of my way when I'm doing this, because if you don't, they will definitely get in your way. That glue stick just absolutely refuses to open. And we're going to stick the letters down the same way. I'm just going to use glue stick. And when I position something on a page, I know that it's not going to go right back the same way. It never does. So it's just a rough idea of where they're going to be. They don't have to be back, as for me at least, exactly where I put them in the first place. I am happy as long as they get back on the page in a reasonable manner. I do make sure with my glue stick that I get the letters clear out to the edge, because or the glue clear out to the edge of my pieces. If you don't, they're going to lift up. And I'm just going to set that up there. Again, I like to use my little card, get everything stuck down real well. And I think we'll go on to the next card and let that one dry a little bit before we finish it up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stick this down and then trim it off. I can just let that be drying while I trim up my letters. And tiny letters sometimes get hard to hold. If you're good with tweezers, tweezers might help you. Tweezers and I don't get along very well, so I don't use them very often. I'm going to have to move all of this up a little bit to get this word to fit, but that's all right. I can do that. You do also want to have a mix of large and small letters so that your words can fit in places like this, because frankly that's a big word for this little tag. If I had chosen to use all smaller letters, it might have fit better, but I just didn't. I'm not going to worry about it. It is going to fit in there. Like I said, we play with our Totally Junk Journal, and it's all made from magazines and junk mail, and we play with that every Sunday at noon Central on my YouTube channel, which is, you're watching it, it's Tanya McGuire. So see, it fit very well. Got to get one that's a little crooked there. Okay. Uh-oh. INS. Oh, my goodness. I left a letter out. Okay. INS. INSPI. That's okay. It helps if you pay attention to your spelling, guys. Okay, I got one up. So what I'm going to do is put the P down. Put the P right there. I have to fix the E because I kind of tore him up a little bit. He's all fixed. Now I need an I. So I'm going to go, this is another reason why because one, you lose them, two, you might have to have a different letter, different size, something. INSPI. And we'll just go IR. E like that. It isn't what I planned, but that's all right. I'm happy with it. It'll be okay. So now I'm going to trim this off. And now I want a couple of things. I did have. Let me see here. Why can't I find it? Oh, it's over here. I am going to go around the letters with my pencil. And this is just a 6B drawing pencil. It just gives it a little bit of darkness around it. Around the letters, kind of grunges it up. And you can use any words you want, any words that inspire you. Now the thing is that the pencil doesn't always do everything I want, so I usually go back, oh that's way too tiny, with one of these micron pens. This is an 08, and I like to go around my images as well as my letters. And this happens to be the one that doesn't write. I do not know why I keep this one in the pot. And there again, I don't try, this is kind of sketchy. I don't try to draw around these letters real neat. When I go around my images, I will be careful and draw around the images carefully. But this is supposed to be kind of grunging it up a little, and it just kind of adds that. And frankly, with this image, I don't think I want to draw around it, because it's not going to work very well to draw around that one. I will be drawing around this one. And like I said, drawing around the letters just makes them stand out, makes them a little more grungy, more, I guess, to me, more Ransome note-like. I don't know. When I draw around my images, I am careful, and I'm not making them scratchy like I was the others. It just makes the images stand out on your card a little. Okay. Now another thing you can do, and I really like to do, is I just need a clean piece of paper. I like to go around the outside edge with black sometimes. And I'm just using these are permanent markers. It's called a Pen Plus Gear permanent marker. It's just an inexpensive permanent marker. And I use a sheet on the back because very often you end up with a line that's because I'm putting my marker sort of in an angle to get that line on the tag. So I end up sort of drawing on the table. So having a waste sheet underneath helps. And you could also ink around the edges. There we go. There's one. Okay. Now, of course, tags need little ties at the top. So I have this bag of old embroidery floss that has been coming in very handy for ties and things like that. It's stuff that hasn't gotten used in ages and ages, and I think was given to me. So, oh, I probably have enough for 2 ties out of this blue. So that's, I think, what we'll do, and that will use up this piece. I'm just going to fold it in half so I have 2 pieces. Well, helps if you can hold on to it. I just fold this up until I think I've got a good length. And I cut all the little loops, and that way I've got little threads. Then I fold my raw ends together, and I have a little loop right here, and I just stick that through my hole of my tag. Bring it back here, and then just make sure that your ends go through all the little loops. And pull it up. Make sure you snug them all up, because if this is loose right there, it will be loose. Okay, let's do the other one and we'll be all finished. Well, not really, because I'm going to finish up that tag we started, but we'll be finished. I'll be finished showing you. But remember, if you make a boo-boo, it is fixable. We all make boo-boos. We all have things that don't go quite the way we planned, and they're usually just fine in the end. There we go. And those are our fun tags with ransom note letter type writing, words, whatever you wish to call it. And now I'm going to read you a quote from my 1001 Ways to Creativity little book, which is what I do at the end of all my videos. This is the nature of genius, to be able to grasp the knowledgeable even when no one else recognizes that it is present. Deepak Chopra. Okay guys, have fun. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.